most people, a comment about the weather is an icebreaker, an idle comment, or a passing observation. For a weather forecaster, however, it's a challenge. Consider saying to somebody in the bus queue, looks like snow. Most people would reply, yes, it does, doesn't it? End of story. But if that person is a weather forecaster, however, you'd get...
Well, it depends. What did you say to them, Jo?
Well, I did actually have this situation, and it wasn't a bus queue, it was a garage. And the people in front of me in the queue, one said, oh, it's very cold, I think it's going to snow. And the person behind the counter said, yes, I think it is going to snow. And I piped up from the back and I said, I'm sorry, it's not going to snow. It is cold. But the 5 to 8 line is in completely the wrong place. So there's going to be no snow tonight. And they looked at me like I was some kind of deranged, insane person who belonged in an institution. And I just kind of smiled and left thinking, why didn't I just keep my mouth shut?
And I bet you didn't even explain what the 5 to 8 line was.
I didn't. It was quite late at night at the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's this really good book that I really love. It's called Watching the English by Kate Fox, and she's an anthropologist. And so what she does is she looks, and it's little things that you notice when you take a step back and you watch how the English behave. So it's things like in a pub, the nearer the bar you are, the more you want to interact with strangers. The further away, the more you want to be left alone to have a chat with your friends. It's really interesting little things like that. And one of the things she says is there are hidden rules for the little chit chat, ice-breaking conversation about weather. And one of them is never disagree. So Jo, you've broken all those rules. Can't believe it. Just you're allowed to disagree, but in a yes, you're right, but I don't think it will at the moment. So you've got to say yes, and then you can sort of backtrack a little bit. But you just went straight in there.
Yeah, I did.
Bulldozer. No, cut them dead.
Not the first time I've broken the rules, it has to be said. Well, welcome everybody to Square Raindrop, discussing the weather, the great British obsession. I'm Jo Wheeler.
And I'm Steph Coulter.
But you're not actually, are you? Come on, real name.
All right, it's Steffi Soleil.
Yes, your weather career took you many thousands of miles away to provide weather forecasts for Al Jazeera in Qatar. And there you found the only man in the world with a surname that translates to sunshine. So you are, in fact, Steffi Sunshine. Is that right?
Yes, it is. It took me a very long time to find a man with a surname that had a weather-related meaning. And in the end, I had to go abroad to foreign places to find him. But here we are. Hooray!
Maybe you should have teamed up with Sarah Blizzard for this podcast, but instead you've got me. Never mind. Anyway.
Or maybe I should have just changed my name by Dipole and made it, dipole. I always get that wrong. Change my name by Dipole, because that would have made the whole process a lot quicker.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, true. Well, we're here to give you a little bit more on the weather than you'd usually find in a TV forecast, because they are constrained, as we know so well, by time.
You've got 1 minute 15, Jo. That's your lot.
Or we've lost a guest. Talk for 3. Just keep going. Yeah, well, the weather down in the south at this time of year, and yeah, we've all been through it. So between the two of us, many years of both weather forecasting and weather presenting, I think there's little that we haven't experienced in that time.
Too true.
So the forecast tells us that it is very mild at the moment. Any comments on conditions?
Mild, Jo, it has been glorious this weekend. Absolutely beautiful. Blue skies, it's been warm. My only complaint is that it got dark too early.
That happens in November, unfortunately. Can't be helped. What sort of temperatures have we seen then?
Well, we've had record temperatures. Scotland, Wales, England all had record temperatures for so late on in the year. Northern Ireland didn't, but only by 0.2 degrees. So, by the hair of their dog. I always get my metaphors mixed up. Grab that rabbit by the horns.
Spoonerisms, Horace. There was a place in Wales that saw very high temperatures. Where was that?
Yeah. Now, I'm a bit rusty with my. I've lived in the Middle East for a long time. A bit rusty with my Welsh pronunciation. So you're going to have to help me out. Portmagog. Looks like on paper Portmagog, but I know it can't be.
It's It's generally not. No, it's not. It's Porthmadog. Porthmadog. We used to go.
Porthmadog? No way.
Yes, it is. We used to holiday there every year when we were kids in North Wales and always pass through Porthmadog. So I know it extremely well, and it is not. The locals will be upset to think it was Porthmadog.
Well, I did say it wasn't, but it kind of looks like it on paper. Well, thank you, Jo. I'm glad you have the common sense today.
To be fair, your specialty is weather, not geography. Certainly not.
I can tell you around Qatar. Come with me. I'll take you around the country.
It's all right. We'll stay here for now because we are focusing on the British weather, and we're in November. Not only in November, we're in the middle of November, and I don't actually think I've seen a frost yet.
I haven't. I do remember being outside with my child who said, "Mummy, I think that's a frost." And I said, "Milo, it's 12 degrees. That's definitely not ice." It's never too early to indoctrinate them into the world of weather. So yes, it has been incredibly mild. And no, I haven't seen a frost here either. And it's still, I mean, this is the mildest it's been so late in the year. I mean, it was 21.2 degrees in Porthmadog. Now I know how to say it.
That's extraordinary. And why are we seeing these high temperatures?
Well, it's a combination of things, really. We've got an area of high pressure sort of over Central and Eastern Europe, and that's pushing up air around that towards us in the UK. And we've also got a jet stream that's really low for this time of year. And so, you know, we're just seeing air dragged up from the south, and that's bringing us some really strange conditions for this time of year.
And looking into your crystal ball, which might otherwise be described as weather charts, what are we looking forward to over the next week or so?
Well, it doesn't stay with those blue skies that we saw over the weekend. We're waving goodbye to those. In fact, today it's grey here. I don't know what it's like where you are, Jo, but I'm not seeing the end of the garden yet, let alone the sky. So, yeah, pretty murky. We've got a huge, powerful weather front that powers through overnight and into tomorrow. That's going to bring some of us some really heavy, horrible rain. And then it all turns more manky and unsettled after that.
Now, the last time I was looking at the pressure charts, I could see an area of low pressure literally racing across the Atlantic from the east coast of America. Is that one of the tropical storms?
That's an old storm, yeah, that hit the US. That was Nicole. It then sort of gets wrapped into this low pressure that's towards the northwest of us that looks like a dartboard anyway, and all gets mixed in with that and throws some more weather towards us. So yeah, it's what Frank Barrow, who used to be my old weather teacher, it's what he used to call sporting weather, which is weather you don't want to do sport in. So I don't know why I called it sporting weather, but it was either blue sky nice day or sporting weather. And this is definitely sporting weather.
Okay, so we're looking at fairly unchangeable conditions. Is it temperatures on the way down, on the way up? They couldn't really be going up, could they?
Well, definitely not any higher, I hope, because this is just wrong for this time of year. But they're not going to get like really low. We're talking about 10 degrees as a top temperature over the next week or so. So it's not looking cold.
Even though we haven't seen any cold weather yet, the newspapers are full of articles about how cold weather can exacerbate health issues. And I saw one the other day about the things you shouldn't leave in your car in cold weather. One of those, I think, was your mother. But anyway. Yeah,
I was really surprised about this, Jo, because, you know, in my mind, when it gets hot, that's when to take everything out the car. You know, things go really yucky when it gets hot. So you don't want to leave any sandwiches in there.
No.
You don't want to put any medication in there or anything that's just going to go pop. So, yeah, it's not, for me, the thought of, oh, it's getting cold, take things out the car wouldn't occur to me.
It wouldn't occur to me either. Sometimes you think these things are just written for the sake of column inches. It's just something else to write about. But anyway, we don't have any cold weather at the moment. Will we, by next week, when we shall be podcasting again, perhaps have some cooler conditions? Will we have reached for the heater? Who knows? But if you have any questions about the weather that need answers, or any weather issues that you'd like us to discuss or explain, do contact us on Twitter at Square Raindrop.
That's right. That's at SQ Raindrop, because Square Raindrop didn't fit.
You didn't think about that when you named it?
I just really like the name. I like the fact it was weather, but different.
Weather, but different. That's us here on Square Raindrop. Join us next week.